Summer is almost here, and it's time to create some summer decor. I will be using IOD stamps and inks for this project. Welcome to Garden House Studio. In today's video, I am going to be stamping on fabric. I am using the mercantile stamp from IOD, and I am just using the stripe part of that stamp. And I'm also going to be using a star, which is from the Holly Jolly, which is a Christmas stamp from a few years back. I am stamping on a piece of cotton. It is going to be a lumbar pillow. It has been pre-washed and pressed, and I am using ink called Rouge, which is an older color from IOD. It's a little more of a brick red, and I am double stamping all of these stripes to really get a bright color. It's a little tricky, but you can see through the stamp, so you can line it up exactly right, and you can get the double stamping and without any mistakes. The video was filmed in a pretty fast speed, but you can see that I just stamped these stripes one right after another. Now that stamp is actually 3 parts, and you could take them apart, but I decided to just go with it and just use the 3 stripes. I'm not trying to duplicate an exact American flag. I am just making a pillow which is semi-patriotic. And here I am double stamping over the stripe to get it to have more color. And you really can't tell. It actually kind of blended in a lot better when I double stamped it. And once all the stripes were double stamped, it was time to do the stars. The Holly Jolly actually has 2 stars with it, and I am using the bigger of the 2 stars that come with the Holly Jolly stamp. Again, it's an IOD Christmas stamp. I am using China Blue ink. I am just eyeing the stars. No measuring, just eyeing it. I actually had no idea how many stars I was going to put on the flag until I finished it, however many would fit. This is the perfect summer stamping project. Make a pillow. You can put this on an apron, put it on a table runner, and get ready for all the patriotic holidays that come in the summer. And there it is, 18 stars. All finished. Love the way the stars came out. And here is the whole flag or pillow front. And here it is made into the pillow. It came out great on a chaise lounge. My next stamping on fabric project for summer is a butterfly tote. And what I did first is I cut out a pattern. I stamped on a heavier cardboard and then I cut out the pattern for my butterfly. And I did this because I want to paint first and stamp second. And it just gives me a cleaner look and a more natural look. So I cut out my butterfly. So when I cut out the butterfly, I actually am not worried about the antennae. I just get as close to the detail as I possibly can. And then I'm going to take a fine point, and this is a super fine point little pen, and I trace around it. It almost looks like pencil. And I'm not making it too dark. I'm just tracing it around it so I can see where to paint it. And the antennae and any fine details of the body are actually stamped on afterwards. So I decide how many I want, and I want 4 for on the front of this. I think I may go back and put some dragonflies on this too, because it just was so much fun to paint these. Once they were all traced out, it was time to paint them. And I am using fabric paint. I am only going to use 3 colors, white, red, and yellow. And I'm going to blend them and create these butterflies with all 4 are going to be different, but they're going to have the same 3 colors blended. And then I use a little water to help me blend them together too. I just paint all around. This paint it doesn't bleed any further than the design if it stays within the lines. The fabric paint, once it's all, you've done all the painting and all the stamping, it has to be heat set. And I have a Cricut iron to heat set it with, and then it's good to go. It's supposed to not, you can wash it inside out in cold water, and you've got your painted bag. There are special brushes for painting on fabric. They're a little stiffer than the ones I had here, so it took me a little longer to get this done. The soft brushes don't quite push into the fabric the way the stiffer fabric brushes would have. But it is quite relaxing to just keep painting butterflies. In order to prevent the paint from bleeding through, I have a piece of foam core board that I put inside of the bag. It not only prevents the paint from bleeding through to the other side, but it also gives you a nice firm surface to be painting against. And you see, I just keep adding color, moving it around, not trying to make both sides even. And you can see the one that I've already stamped. It doesn't really matter that they're exact. Actually, adding the stamp at the end makes all the difference. And I use a black ink to do the stamping. I did re-ink my ink pads before I stamp on fabric, because when you're stamping on fabric, you want that stamp to have lots and lots of ink on it. In fact, it's more than I would have if I was stamping on wood or on paper. But on fabric, I want it really, really juicy. And then I push that ink into the fabric. You may wonder why I don't stamp the image, paint it, and then stamp over it again. For these butterflies, it would have been really hard to get the antenna lined up exactly, and you actually get a much cleaner stamping by doing it this way. You want to make sure your paint is totally dry before you do any stamping on top of it. You also don't want to let your paint get too thick. If you get it too thick, it's going to crack. So now that it's totally dry, it's time to stamp. And I really, really push down on that stamp to get a really good image. And then the butterflies just come to life. The stamping detail just makes such a difference. And like I said, this is black ink. It's permanent ink, IOD permanent ink. Lots of detail on these little butterflies, so I spend some time really pushing that ink into the fabric to make sure I get all those details. I also added a pocket to this little bag, and I put a big butterfly on it, and I actually put the pocket on the other side. But I did the same exact thing. I made a pattern, traced it, painted on the fabric, and then I stamped my butterfly. And now these are done. And here's the pocket. It's a different butterfly, it's actually the biggest one on the butterfly stamp. And the butterfly stamp is also an IOD stamp. I always remove all the extra ink because you're pushing it so much into the fabric. Any ink that you get along the margins or on the carrier sheet could show through. You could be pushing down hard enough to get it on there. So I wipe it away. And here comes our big butterfly. My last little summertime stamping project is little tiny, what I'm calling is little beach bags, but they're really little beach gift bags. These are little muslin bags that you can get, and I will leave the information in the description. And I am stamping them with the Seashore stamp, which is a discontinued stamp. I apologize from IOD, but you still can get them. In fact, I will put a link in the description where you can get them. And I am using Oceans Deep ink, and I am just basically putting beach basics on every single one of these little bags with this one's going to have a seahorse, the first one had a scallop shell, and then the final one is going to have another shell. And what I am doing with them is putting little bits of things you need to go to the beach. So lip gloss, some sunscreen, some of them have after sun lotion, just little sizes that are easy to put in your purse. And I would use these as gift bags for teachers, for co-workers, for anyone that you need a little gift for in the summer. They are perfect little gifts, and they can be used over and over again. The Seashore stamp is a 2-pager, and it is just full of beautiful detailed shells, coral, and I did use it in another video, and I used just the coral and made this big giant coral pillow, and you'll see that above. I'm using the apothecary labels to make the lettering on my little bags. And you can see I had the C going the wrong way, but I left it. The apothecary labels is a new, you could see them there, a new stamp from IOD. Lots of little tiny stamps that are perfect for this kind of application. These little gift bags are one of my favorite things to just keep them around. And whenever you need a little gift, just stamp on them whatever the appropriate occasion is and put some little gifts in there. Even put some money in there, whatever you need for a gift. They're just they're perfect for personalized gifts. Any occasion. So once I had all of the words on the sides and the bottom of my little bags, my stamping was done, and I packed little summertime things into my bags. I also made little tags with one of the smallest little shells that there was in the stamp set, and put the little tags on each one of the bags. Thanks for watching our video, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and are inspired to do some stamping on fabric for summertime.